Hello, my name is Brock Kehoe, and this is a video about initiatives and referendums in Arizona for my POS-500 U.S. and Arizona Constitutions for teacher candidates taught by Professor Melanie Herring at GCU. The initiative and the referendum are at the heart of direct democracy in Arizona. Let's start with the basic definitions of initiative and referendum. So, initiative is any measure taken by the people that proposes new laws or amends the Arizona revised statutes or the Arizona Constitution. And referendum is any measure or item, section, or part of any measure enacted by the legislature during legislative sessions. Arizona's registered voters may circulate a petition to refer to the voters a measure or part of a measure passed by the legislature. Both of these are definitions defined on the Gila County, Arizona website. So next would be the process of what people and what has to happen for initiative and referendums, and they both differ. So, initiatives and referendums are created by the direct participation by Arizona citizens to create laws and amending the Constitution. When it comes to initiatives, the process is step 1, a proposal where a person or group of people propose a new law or amendment. Step 2 is a petition. Said person or group gather signatures from registered voters to demonstrate sufficient public interest. Step 3 is submission. So these signatures are submitted to the Arizona Secretary of State's office by a set deadline. 4 is verification. So this is where the Secretary of State verifies the signatures, making sure that they're all real, making sure that it's all registered voters of Arizona that are signing this. Step 5 is ballot placement. If enough valid signatures are gathered, the measure is placed on the ballot for voters to decide. And lastly, step 6 is vote. So voters approve or reject the initiative by voting, going out and voting. This process is defined and explained on the Arizona Secretary of State website. The process of creating referendums is greatly different, I'll say. Step 1, which is legislative action. So the legislature passes a law. Step 2, petition. If citizens want to change or challenge the law, they gather signatures from registered voters, so kind of something similar to initiatives, but not exactly. 3, signature requirement. The minimum requirement is 5% of the voters cast in the last election have to sign that. Like 5% of that amount has to sign the petition. Step 4 is deadline. So the deadline to file the referendum petition signatures is 90 days after the legislative session ends. And step 5 is ballot placement and vote. If enough valid signatures are collected, the law is placed on the ballot for voters to approve and reject. So same as with initiatives. So when you compare and contrast initiatives and referendums, one thing you should really take note of is that both initiatives and referendums are forms of direct democracy where citizens have the power to make decisions on specific issues. However, they greatly differ in their origin and, as I just explained, their processes. So I've already explained the processes, which is where they greatly differ is deadlines. For referendums, where there's not really a deadline for initiatives per se, and the first step. So for initiatives, the first step is a proposal. For first step for referendums, it's legislative action. So the legislature passes laws before that. And for their origins is initiatives originate from the citizens, while referendums originate from the government or legislative body. So in that case, like the decision to make a change comes from, for initiatives from the citizens, while the change usually comes from government or legislative bodies when it comes to referendums. There are pros and cons to both. The pros of initiative and referendums are 1, citizen empowerment, 2, direct democracy, 3, addressing overlooked issues, 4, creation of positive change, 5, it's a check on legislative power, so it's a form of checks and balances, 6, consideration of public opinion, and 7, which is increased voter participation. So this gets voters to go out, vote, participate in their government, participate in decisions that can affect them. While the cons of initiatives and referendums are, 1, they're costly and time-consuming. So they take up tax dollars and time. 2, sometimes both of these actually can be influenced by special interests of politicians and those that are higher up the ladder in the community. 3, greater potential for poorly drafted laws. So they can create kind of rushed drafts of laws that don't fully make sense or aren't fully fleshed out. Creates uncertainty in lawmaking and creates complexity and difficulty for voters to understand what's happening. Lastly, initiatives and referendums support the idea of direct democracy as outlined in the Arizona Constitution. So the Arizona Constitution champions direct democracy by granting citizens the power to directly influence lawmaking through initiatives and referendums. They also support the concept of direct democracy by allowing the citizens to bypass the state legislature and directly participate in this lawmaking. This is explained by Christopher A. Coury in his 1994 paper.